I didn't realize my partner was training me. Until I broke one of his rules. I 26F dated my ex for almost 2 years, and I didn't realize how controlled I was until after the breakup. When we first met, he seemed unbelievably attentive. He remembered everything I said, asked thoughtful questions, and acted like he genuinely understood me in a way no one else ever had. He told me communication was everything to him, which I thought meant honesty and openness. What I didn't know was that every communication talk slowly turned into new expectations. Not boundaries. Rules. For me, not for him. It started with texting habits. If I didn't respond quickly enough, he'd get quiet and withdrawn. He would not yell. He would not argue. He would just shut down completely until I apologized for making him worry. If I hesitated or defended myself, he'd say he felt undervalued. That guilt was powerful. I found myself rearranging my day just to avoid that disappointed tone. Then it became about my social life. He'd say certain friends were pulling me in the wrong direction or that certain outings made him feel excluded. If I canceled plans to stay with him, he'd praise me with this warm, overwhelming affection that made me feel like I'd done something deeply meaningful. If I didn't, he'd grow distant again. Slowly, I learned which choices earned approval and which ones earned punishment through silence. But I never saw it as punishment, just emotional sensitivity. He framed each correction as something he was helping me fix. He said I overexplained things, so I stopped sharing details. He said I took too long to make decisions, so I started deferring to him. He said certain outfits made me look like I was trying too hard, so I changed how I dressed. He said my tone got defensive when I disagreed, so eventually I stopped disagreeing. He didn't demand anything outright, he simply rewarded compliance and made independence feel like betrayal. He always praised me when I adjusted. See? Look how much smoother things are when you communicate this way. Look how much happier we are when you prioritize us. I love seeing you grow. I thought I was improving myself. Really, I was shrinking. The worst part was how he slowly trained me not to trust my own emotions. If I cried, he'd say I was being dramatic. If I felt hurt, he'd say I was being sensitive. If I expressed discomfort, he'd say I was misinterpreting things. Eventually, whenever something bothered me, my first instinct was to wonder if I was wrong. My own reactions felt unreliable. Everything fell apart the day I accidentally broke one of his unwritten rules. I had fallen asleep at my sister's house after a long day and forgot to text him that I made it home safely. When I woke up, I had 15 missed calls and a long message accusing me of disrespecting him, ignoring his needs, and intentionally triggering his fears. I apologized automatically, the way I'd been conditioned to. But something about his message made me feel like I was trapped inside a script I didn't agree to. The next day, I tried to talk to him about how intense his reaction was. Instead of listening, he broke into tears and told me I was hurting him by setting moving targets. He said he only acted this way because he loved too deeply. He said my independence was punishing him. He said he needed me to follow the system he had been teaching me so that neither of us would get hurt. That word, system, shattered everything. In that moment, I finally saw it. He hadn't been supporting me. He'd been training me. Step by step. Behavior by behavior. He had created a reward and punish cycle so subtle that I mistook it for emotional vulnerability. My compliance made him feel secure. My autonomy threatened him. He didn't want communication. He wanted control. I left a week later. And when I finally had distance, I realized how much of myself I had lost. My preferences. My opinions. My routines. Even small things like how I texted, how I dressed, how I reacted, all shaped by him. People ask me why I stayed so long. The truth? The cage was built slowly, softly, and beautifully. By the time I realized it was a cage, I already didn't know where the door was. Now I'm unlearning all of it, not the love, but the conditioning he wrapped it in.